Alright, so I haven't even started watching the race yet. It's still downloading. But, thought I'd comment on this, controversy that has happened in regards to the Ferrari team. Basically, on lap 47, I believe, Felipe Massa was in front of Fernando Alonso. Fernando Alonso is like 50 points ahead of Massa in the championship standings. So it comes over the radio. Rob Smedley tells Felipe Massa that, I'm quoting here, Alonso is faster than you. That was the radio. 2 turns later, Massa basically lets Fernando Alonso through. It's basically what happened. They went on to finish 1-2, Alonso winning, obviously. Massa coming in second place. And rightly so, an investigation started quickly thereafter into whether or not team orders were used. And anybody who follows F1 pretty much even vaguely knows that it's a pretty horrible practice where basically team bosses decide that it makes sense to have one driver give up a position for another driver. Usually it's to help driver championship. It doesn't affect, obviously, manufacturers' championships because they would have gotten the same points either way. But in this case, it was used, presumably, to increase Alonso's points, even though Hamilton is still ahead in championship drivers' points. You never know what could happen later down the season, which was Ferrari's apparent motive in doing this, was to set Alonso up for a better chance at winning the drivers' championship. They called both drivers and the chief engineer and the team principal, Stefano Domenicali, into a meeting with the stewards, and then decided to fine them $100,000 and referred them to the FIA Motorsports Council for further investigation. So, it's pretty obvious what happened. I don't think there's really a whole bunch of doubt. I was reading an article on an F1 website, and it says that Eddie Jordan got to talk with Domenicali after, and I know Eddie gives any of them shit. He gave Christian Horner a pretty big time after their decision regarding Mark Webber's front wing to give Vettel the newer piece, which was controversial in itself, but that's not affecting the spirit of racing. That's affecting equipment, and that's a logistics decision which I didn't agree with, but I can swallow that. This was Domenicali just not thinking and being a jerk. But I think in the situation that the team and the driver should both be fined. I think that as Jonathan Lejard, I follow on Twitter, was speaking, tweeted that he spoke to an F1 driver and said $100,000. If that's it, if that's all the fine is, then, and they end up winning the drivers' championship, it'll have been worth it. And I think drivers need to have more of a personal stake in following through on team orders. I don't think Domenicali should have 100% of the blame. Massa knew what was being said to him, and he complied. And that it goes against the sporting regulations. It goes against the spirit of the sport. I mean, it's basically throwing a race. I mean, that's what he did. Domenicali ordered him to do it, but ultimately Massa made the decision to let Alonso through. And it could not come at a worse time for Ferrari, because they had finally gotten back on top of their game. I mean, they would have been 1-2 in this race no matter what. They could have walked out with their heads held high and, could have been trumpeting the return of Ferrari to Formula One greatness after not a great season last year and a pretty poor start to this season. And then they go and do this. And Domenicali's excuse I was reading was that Massa had a problem changing gears, suddenly changed up 3 gears by accident, and that's why Alonso got through. Now, I'm not one to do conspiracy theories, but if you tell Massa that Alonso's faster, and then he lets Alonso through, and your excuse is that Massa suddenly forgot how to change gears in his car, I'm inclined to call bullshit. And I'm hoping that the FIA does investigate and that there are more punishments, both for Felipe and for the team. I think that it's, we just kind of starting to put the whole Renault Piquet disaster behind us as a sport and as fans. And then this happens, and it's like, you ruin, you getting some extra points is not worth ruining the spirit of the sport. And I think that there are a lot of F1 fans, a lot of Ferrari fans, a lot of sporting fans that are going to look at this in a negative light. I know I do. And it makes me think, Alonso is a great driver. He's very quick. But if the cards fall like the cards fall and Massa's ahead, Massa should be able to race for it. And he's kind of been treated like the second-tier driver. I don't think he was never really an aggressive driver, but he hasn't, he's not an Alonso. Alonso he takes risks and he's aggressive. But if Massa's winning a race, he shouldn't be forced to give up the spot. So, anyways, race will be done downloading in a few minutes. I'm going to go watch it. I'll comment after. See you guys later.